Earth. It's a beautiful planet. But it's also full of strange and weird things. There are many weird things in the country. But this is something weird in my neighbourhood. At full speed I could literally fly to on my drone. I could literally fly there within a few seconds.
On the giant horses in the sun, how's I supposed to get any riding done?
This is the local Bora Ring. But what exactly is a Bora Ring? Bora Rings are sacred Aboriginal ceremonial sites. Circles in the ground, often found in pairs and linked by one or two pathways, typically between 20 and 100 metres or yards long. Some were even longer, like here, where the path between the rings once stretched around 600 yards. Unlike today, where our large populations gather in massive stadiums or entertainment venues, the local Aborigine communities of the past were far smaller and spread across vast territories. For them, a site like a Bora Ring was an incredibly significant gathering place, a central point for hundreds, perhaps even thousands, of people coming together for vital cultural, spiritual and social events. Even though I've lived here in the area for over 20 years and been here a few times, I've never actually been in the ring. Off camera, this may sound strange to some people, asked permission of the elders to enter the ring. I believe that on such a sacred site, and in fact any historical places, you should always be respectful. The Moggill Bora Ring, which is only about 1 kilometre away from my house, as the crow or drone flies, is the largest and best preserved in the area. It's maintained by the local historical society. I'm told this particular Bora Ring was first established in the area around 10,000 years ago. Of course, that's very hard to verify accurately. But if that's correct, it would be one of the oldest Bora Rings in Queensland, and likely Australia, that's still in good condition. Over the years, some people have suggested that why have so many peaceful visits at home from especially the bird life. It could have something to do with the presence of the Bora Ring nearby. I don't know. I'm pretty open-minded. I believe you should always be respectful in such a site, no matter what your actual beliefs. When you think of how many, possibly hundreds of thousands of people have been here in the past, thousands of years ago even, makes you think. Bora Rings appear as a raised circular earth structure, about 300 millimetres or 1 foot high and 22 metres, around 72 feet in diameter. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a big dip of a foot or two from the centre of the ring. Obviously, Bora Rings weren't originally fenced off by these modern-day coppers logs. Let me just pause very briefly as you watch one of the many traditional dance ceremonies. While terms like Indigenous or First Nations are also used and are perfectly valid, I'm using the term Aboriginal throughout this video. It's a traditional and respectful term for Australia's original people of the land, and I want to assure you I use it with the utmost respect for their heritage and culture. In fact, I've recently verified with a few friends of Aboriginal heritage, and they've assured me that they don't in any way find the term, which they use themselves, offensive. And now back to the story. It's just so peaceful here. You get a sense of the history, I guess, of the place and its significance in the past. At my local site, once part of a larger ceremonial complex, a second ring nearby was sadly lost to nearby housing development circa 1972. Regrettably, money often takes precedence over the preservation of history. Whilst historical accounts indicate there were hundreds of Bora rings in the Brisbane area alone prior to European settlement, sadly most have been destroyed or lost. There were very likely once thousands of Bora rings spread around Australia. I suspect that there are a lot more sites that have never been revealed. Of course, we can only guess at true numbers, because there was, of course, no historical records kept from tens of thousands of years ago, or even more recently. And of those that did exist, the bulk would have simply eroded away with time, just like the people who gathered there. Bora ring sites were primarily used for initiation ceremonies, marking a young boy's passage into manhood. Elders would pass down cultural lore, dreamtime stories, and survival knowledge, wisdom carefully handed down from one generation to the next. The larger ring, or bull as it was called, hosted the more public elements of these ceremonies. Women were allowed to observe, while the smaller ring, connected by a sacred path, often facing southwest, was for secret rites among initiated men. Some sites included a third ring, thought by some to be for women, though its purpose isn't clearly documented. The path itself symbolised more than just the distance. It represented a journey, both physical and spiritual, from childhood to adulthood. Another positive aspect of Bora ring ceremonies was that they also brought clans, which were more commonly called mobs, together. While the rings were sacred and often restricted, the surrounding area became a hub of storytelling, dance, music, and even trade. Australia's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures are widely recognised as the world's oldest, continuous living human cultures. Scientific, archaeological, and genetic evidence supports this, showing that the Aboriginal people have lived on the Australian continent for at least 65,000 years, possibly longer. The Bora rings, like this one just near me in Brisbane, are powerful reminders of that deep history and of the importance of preserving and respecting the cultural sites and stories that remain. And that's something weird, yet interesting, in my neighbourhood. This has been my entry into the latest Twisted Visions challenge.
This time we've got the Rhapsodic Rob from Walkabout with Rob, the Spellbinding Steve from Steve Mack Australia, the Gung-Ho Gizmo from Gizmo's Bush Escapes, the Allegorical Adam from the Brisbane Channel, and the Mellifluous Marty from Marty's Train Shed. And of course me, T-Rox.
As well as a latecomer, yet favourite, Beck from Love Life and Travel. As usual, check out the other people that have taken part. The links will all be below in the description. Cheers.